Hello everyone, I'm Bailey Grace.
And I'm Ellen.
And today we are going to be talking about disagreements and how you can manage them so they don't become full-blown arguments and fallouts.
To help us explore this, we are joined by Lucy Rose, who works with young people as part of her role at Calderdale Council.
Lucy, could you tell us a bit about your role, please?
Yep. So I work within the missing persons team at Calderdale Council. It's in the family intervention team. So as part of my job role, we complete what we call return home conversations with any young person under the age of 18 that has been reported missing in Calderdale. So that entails going out and having a conversation with them, finding out what the issues were, what might be causing them to feel this way, and just sort of being a listening ear for them.
Thank you, Lucy. Today we're going to ask you some questions about disagreements in relationships, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
Are disagreements a normal part of relationships?
Yeah, of course. Disagreements are completely normal. We all have different opinions, needs and experiences, so conflict is unavoidable. What really matters isn't whether we disagree, but how we do it. Healthy disagreements are respectful, don't involve put-downs or fear, and usually lead to better understanding. Harmful disagreements are the ones that involve shouting, blaming or shutting each other out.
Why do small disagreements sometimes turn into big arguments?
Often it's not about the small things at all. The argument might start over something minor, but underneath there could be stress, tiredness, feeling unheard, or past issues that haven't been resolved. And those feelings build up, even a tiny trigger can set everything off.
Yeah, it's true. It's quite difficult sometimes, but what can we do when we see that someone is reaching their point of frustration?
Definitely knowing that person helps and understanding how they're acting, how their body language is presenting. I think it's about having that bit of a breather, realising that things might be getting a little bit out of hand and sort of feeling empathy for that person as well.
Yeah, and we talk a lot about empathy, but can you explain a little bit more about what empathy is and why it is so important?
I would say that everyone has different opinions and they come from completely different backgrounds sometimes. So having empathy and understanding other people's position, you might get mad at one thing and the other person might not be bothered about that. So it's understanding that actually things can be upsetting and people react differently to that. And they might be past issues that they've had. They might have had trauma issues. So it's about understanding, right, this person's feeling really overwhelmed and they're starting to get a little bit heated. So what can I do to help the situation?
It's just having consideration for others.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Why is it hard to listen properly when emotions are high or you're having a hard time?
When we feel angry or upset, our brain switches into defence mode. We're focused on protecting ourselves, not understanding someone else. That's why listening becomes harder. We're busy thinking about what to say next or proving our point. Slowing things down really helps bring the thinking part of the brain back online.
So how do I ask questions to listen and understand the other person's better?
Just try to hear what the other person is really saying, not just waiting for your turn to talk. That could be asking questions, reflecting back on what you've heard, or checking you've understood them properly. You don't have to agree, just showing them that you're trying to understand can calm things down a lot.
So why does blaming make things worse?
Blame puts people on the defence straight away. If someone feels attacked, they're more likely to argue back or shut down. I statements shift the focus to how you feel and what you need. That makes the conversation feel safer and more honest, which gives it a better chance of going somewhere positive.
Is it just natural to blame someone else?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. It's an instinct. You know, a lot of people put their barriers up straight away because they feel attacked and they don't want to be attacked. They might be asking questions. They might have been the one to instigate the disagreement in the first place, and then suddenly it might be turned back on them. So then you're starting to get into that position where it gets a little bit more heated. It's just natural to say to someone, you've done this, you've made me feel this way, when actually we might need to take a step back and look at why they're saying that and what we've done previously and what other actions we've shown previously.
Yeah, and the I statement, so what's a good example of an I statement that we can use in discussions that are getting more heated?
Probably to say something along the lines of, I am feeling overwhelmed. It's so important to get your feelings across, especially when someone's coming on the defence. You put yourself first. And that sometimes is always a priority that we don't realise. So making statements saying I makes the conversation stronger so that the other person in the argument can understand how you're feeling at that time.
I think
That's interesting.
Yeah, I definitely use that one for the next time I get into a fight with my brother.
Yeah, definitely. Our brothers are the worst.
Is it okay to pause or walk away from a disagreement?
Yeah, absolutely. Taking a pause can be really healthy. The key is how you do it. Saying something like, I'm feeling overwhelmed and I need a few minutes, but I want to come back to this, helps the other person know you're not abandoning the conversation. Pauses help prevent saying things you might regret.
And what's something that we can do during these pauses that help us just take a moment to get away from the disagreement?
So you tend to be in a room or potentially on the phone with someone when you're having a disagreement and just saying, I need a second, we'll come back to this, and doing something that interests you, that makes you feel good. It might be going for a 30-minute walk. They talk a lot about going for walks, 30 minutes walk to clear your head. It's really good for your mental health. Doing something else that you might enjoy, colouring. It might even be speaking to a trusted person. I lean on my friends a lot, and it's also good to get advice in that moment as well. Have I said something wrong? How could I have dealt with this better? And it's just about resetting.
Yeah, and that means you're coming back to the disagreement, well, if you do come back to it, with a clearer head.
Yeah, you've had more time to reflect and think about what you want to say. And if this person is really important to you, you're going to want to make things better with that person.
Yeah, of course.
And you can just get it off your chest to somebody else that's not actually in the disagreement.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, leaning on friends and family member, people that you trust, because getting feedback, whether it be negative or positive, is really healthy. And whether you agree or disagree, it's good to get that feedback to understand, did I say something wrong in this argument? Did I make it worse? How could I have done something better?
And if, say, you do speak to a friend and they necessarily don't share the same opinion as you, how can you take that criticism constructively without making that even more a frustration on you?
It's really hard to get negative feedback, especially from that trusted person, because again, it's going back on that defence mode, isn't it? That this person should be here for me. But it's about reflecting, having a moment, ending that conversation with your friend and going off, maybe doing the washing up or going for a walk and just having a think and a really hard think about what you've said and whether you disagree or agree. I think it's important to think that this person that you trust has your back and they're not going to say anything that's going to put you in a bad position. And that's why you probably trust them in the first place. That's why you're probably friends with them in the first place. So taking that feedback on board and listening to what they say and getting an outside view on the situation can be really beneficial to a disagreement or agreement.
Yes.
Yeah.
How important is seeing the other person's point of view?
It's really important, not because they're automatically right, but because understanding their perspective helps reduce tension. When people feel seen and heard, they're more open to compromise. You can still disagree, but empathy makes disagreement less damaging.
And is it okay to agree to disagree?
Yeah. Relationships aren't competitions. Even if you win, the other person might feel hurt, dismissed or resentful, and that damage lasts longer than the argument itself. A better goal is finding a way forward that works for both people, even if it means meeting in the middle.
What helps make things better after a disagreement?
Repair is about more than just saying sorry. It's about showing you understand the impact of what happened. That might include taking responsibility, checking how the other person feels, or doing something kind afterwards. Small positive actions can go a long way in rebuilding trust.
Finally, what's one thing we can start using right away?
Learning to name how you feel instead of blaming someone else. Saying, I feel frustrated, but I don't feel listened to, is a powerful skill that works in friendships, family, school, and future relationships. It helps people hear you and it helps you understand yourself better too.
Yeah, it's really good because it's all about de-escalating and
It's just about taking a step back before things get too much and everyone gets overwhelmed.
yeah, definitely. Well, thank you very much for coming in today and helping us explore this difficult topic. It's been really amazing to hear all your advice.
No, thank you so much for having me. It's been great fun.
It's been very interesting, thank you.
Thank you. And you can find lots of interesting podcasts on a variety of subjects by exploring the useful podcast section on the Destination web app. Search destination.org.uk.
You can also find them on Apple, Spotify or YouTube.
If you would like to know more information about managing healthy relationships, please check the podcast description below.
Finally, we'd like to thank Jimmy for editing and Youth Social for producing.
Thank you.